Where do you get your protein? Hench Herbivore.
If I had a penny for every time somebody asked me that question, well, let's just say I'd have a ton of money. I get my protein the same place your protein gets its protein. When we eat any food, our bodies break the proteins down into their constituent amino acids before they're granted entry into the bloodstream through the wall of the small intestine. Did these protein building blocks come from beef or from lentils? It's irrelevant at this point. Some people will argue that animal proteins are more bioavailable, which is true, but there are pros and cons either way. For example, all meat is contaminated by endotoxins, which are not destroyed by the cooking process. These create inflammation in the body such that many of the amino acids ingested have to be built into C-reactive protein by the liver in order to quell the inflammation and therefore cannot be used to grow muscle. In terms of their ability to grow muscle, there is no real-world evidence to suggest that animal proteins or plant proteins outperform each other. And even if they did, you could simply just eat a little more. We and other animals merely recycle these amino acids to form the various proteins that we require. In fact, we make around 2 million different proteins. It is preposterous to think that we need to eat meat, muscle, in order to create muscle. When is the last time you saw somebody eating eyeballs or hair, discounting spherage, yet they still possess them? There is a long-standing myth about the need to protein combine at each meal. The idea that we need to eat, say, legumes with whole grains so we get all the various essential amino acids and can build complete proteins. That myth was first aired in the February 75 issue of Vogue magazine and was disproven decades ago. The truth is that we keep pools of free amino acids in our bodies for use at any time. We also recycle about 90 grams of amino acids from deceased cells daily. Another big myth is that only animal products contain complete proteins with all essential amino acids present. But all whole plant foods contain all essential amino acids, albeit in varying ratios. In fact, the only incomplete protein in the food chain is gelatin, which comes from the skin, bones, and connective tissues of various animals and lacks the amino acid tryptophan. The only thing to be concerned about when eating the whole foods vegan diet is that we eat a range of different foods, which we need to be doing for overall health in any case. For my own diet, I make sure to take in a range of legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. If you're eating adequate calories from these foods, then the vast majority of people will meet their protein needs. According to the World Health Organization, the average woman needs no more than 46 grams of protein daily, and for a man, 56 grams. More often than not, when I write a nutrition plan for my clients, their protein comes in at about double those numbers without me even trying. One proviso is in the case of larger strength or physique athletes. Of course, the more muscle damage that we are repairing, the greater our protein needs are going to be. According to the best available science, it's looking likely that 1.62 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day may be optimal for muscle growth. I will add at this point that we must also be eating enough calories in order to grow, else the protein can be used as fuel. The barometer of success is that we'll see our body weight steadily rising week by week. For people wanting to drop body fat, it's looking likely that 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day is optimal for maintaining the most muscle mass. All this science, however, was done on trained athletes who on average are going to have leaner physiques than your average sedentary person. I would imagine that body fat percentage must come into this, as of course fat is inert tissue. I believe it's likely that people with a higher percentage of body fat would do just as well on a lesser amount of protein, though the science has not been done, so I cannot say this with any degree of certainty. There are world-class and world record-holding vegan athletes in many sports now, including strength sports. Anyone who says that these athletes only look and perform the way they do is because they must be on steroids should know that that would mean that they require double the amount of protein of a non-drug assisted athlete. So according to you, it's possible for vegans to get enough protein even in this extreme. Now what's your excuse for hurting animals? A strength or physique athlete with their elevated protein requirements may find it difficult to get the optimal ratio of protein, carbs, and fat just from a whole foods plant-based diet alone. In these cases, I recommend the judicious use of some higher protein processed foods. Tofu, seitan, TVP, soya milk, soya yogurts, and various protein powders. Although not as healthy as the whole foods that they would be displacing, I don't perceive them as being particularly harmful, particularly if the rest of the diet is made up of the healthy whole plant foods. If you want my personal recommendation for the best vegan protein supplement on the market, then I recommend Vivo Life's Perform Protein. I've found this to be the most digestible and effective protein powder, and it's one of the few protein powders not found by the white label report to be contaminated with heavy metals. I'm proud to be a brand ambassador with Vivo Life, and my clients and followers can get 10% off their first order by using my link and discount code, which you'll find in the video's description box below. By continuing to use my unique link, you would be helping to support my work on social media, so thanks in advance if you decide to do so. So there it is, folks. You can do just as well on a vegan diet building muscle as you can on an omnivorous one. But by choosing the plant-based options, you'll be slashing your risk of developing the diseases of affluence that most Westerners will suffer and die from. Are you with me? Or are you okay with being the most muscular corpse in the cemetery? Click here unless you're stupid!